Good evening, everybody. This is Whiskey Wednesday Weekly. I'm your host, Ken Boone. This week, our guest is Seth Herndon. He's actually an associate of mine at my office. And Seth's got a pretty good story. Seth's story is unique regarding the adoption process. Now, obviously, we've not had any guest on here with the adoption process, so it's actually going to be interesting to learn that process. And I'm kind of intrigued to hear a little bit about it because it seems like it's not your orthodox. I mean, I don't even know what normal adoption is, frankly. I mean,
I don't think there's such a thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there is, but they went a different route, even a little bit further. So it'll be interesting to hear. But obviously, first of all, welcome, Seth.
Thank you.
Hi. We're actually going to do something a little different tonight. I decided I would, because I've had so many whiskeys, and not that I've ran out or anything. I was telling Seth I only have like 30 on my shelf, and I'm still out like 7 bottles of my normal stuff. However, I decided to go ahead and try the Brock as the Tiramana, tequila. And so sure enough, I thought, let's try it. As you can see, we've tried a little bit of it, but Seth hasn't, and I really haven't. I've actually not drank any of it. Just left it to my wife. So we're going to start out with that one and see how exciting it is. I mean, it's a really reasonably priced bottle. It was only $40.
That's not bad.
So we'll go ahead and try that off first, and then we'll see what happens. So tonight we're doing more of a sipping pour. All right. And I know I thought 1 ounce was a lot less than that. I guess these glasses make it look like they're really up there.
It looks like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So we'll keep it.
It's good.
Yeah, it smells good, and it's the Blanco. So I think he makes 2. I'm not sure. Maybe he only makes this one, but we'll try it out. All right, here we go. Wow, I don't usually drink tequila straight.
No,
I mean,
it's very smooth.
There's no like after bite or anything.
No,
that's super good.
Very smooth. Very flavorful.
Wow, that's like, you remember the old days? I don't know if you drank in high school or, well, sorry, when you're 21.
Nobody drank in high school, Ken. Nobody ever did that.
But tequila was gnarly.
No, yeah, that's
like that. But you remember tequila? That was like gnarly. This stuff is
that'll
like,
get you in trouble.
Wow, that's super easy.
Very good.
So I'll start my little timer now. I apologize. Well, while I'm doing that, Seth and I have chatted a little bit, so I'd like to talk to him a little bit about where were you born? I think you said right here in the backyard of.
Right here, yeah. I live 5 miles from where I grew up at my parents' house. They had 10 acres down the road.
Okay, and we're, in case you're wondering, we're in Winchester, but ultimately Riverside County, Murrieta, Temecula. Temecula is probably the more popular one if some people look that up.
For the wineries and whatnot.
Yeah, big wine country out here, so it's super nice that way. But so you had a normal childhood? I mean, how'd that go?
Yeah, nothing real super difficult. I mean, my parents are still married.
Good stuff.
Brother and sister, we all grew up fairly tight. I was the youngest.
Okay.
So, brother's 5 years older than me. My sister's 6 years older than me.
Right.
So they fought all the time, and they still call me the golden child.
Oh, right.
Good grades and band nerd and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
It's kind of normal that way, though, right? The third child, if the other ones are older, that's kind of like, okay, you guys are grown up now. Let's focus on the guy who can't do any wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
My sister still jokes about it. Yeah, but totally normal childhood.
Yeah.
Fairly good grades. And
Okay. Now, what did you decide to do after high school?
I went straight in the military right after high school.
Okay, what branch was that?
Marines.
Okay.
And I wanted to do that since I was a kid.
Oh.
My dad was in the Army. My brother joined the Air Force.
Okay.
So by the time I got of age, I actually did the DEP program, delayed enlistment program.
Right, yeah. Oh my God, I forgot that.
Yeah, so you get in early.
I forgot the name of DEP. That's funny because I was actually a part of that. I totally spaced on
It's
that.
the tequila.
It's bringing back good memories.
Super
good job, Brock.
So straight out of high school, I actually enlisted in April, and then by the time high school came around, I just had my 3 months vacation, and in September went right into boot camp.
Oh wow! So you went. When did you graduate? 18 or 17? Okay,
18.
I graduated 17.
Yeah.
So you graduate 18. Boom. 3 months later, after the summer, you joined like college basically.
Yeah.
You went right to the Marines.
Exactly.
How was that, and what did you do? What's the story on that?
It's funny because I hated it, but you saw when you got here, I've got a Marine Corps flag flying outside.
Right.
Like, now I'm proud that I actually did it.
You and me, brother.
Right.
I was like, this is the worst 4 years of my life, and then I look back and it's like it was pretty damn good 4 years.
Guess what I'm not going to do as a career, right? At the time. But it was interesting because I actually went into. I originally auditioned for the band, for the Marine Corp band.
That was like what you went to go in for?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing.
It's like
it's not like no, I know it's a
totally
big deal,
different-
but
yeah.
it's not like a side thing where you go in and
No.
you're infantry and you like I want to be in the band. It's
No,
actually
it's like
a race.
it's your job.
Oh, okay.
Like you still learn how to fire a gun and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's your for real job.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went in. I tried to go in for that. I auditioned, didn't make it. Found out later there were some reasons for that.
And what was you were in for? I mean, I know you play guitar now, but was it also guitar?
It was drums.
Oh, okay.
I was doing percussion.
Okay.
Which that was my main instrument in high school.
Okay.
Was percussion.
Okay.
And then piano and guitar.
So you were a bangy.
Currently am still a bangy. Total band nerd.
Really?
Love music.
No,
love
I know
playing
you're a big.
instruments.
I don't mean like that, but
Yeah.
I mean like you don't. You just
No, I was a
don't
total
seem
band
like,
geek, yeah.
you were a.
Yeah, the
That's
quintessential band geek. And I mean, the fact that I just said quintessential is probably.
That's probably a giveaway, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so that didn't work out.
Right.
So I got depressed because I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So I just said, I just want to be a Marine. What can I do? And I had a good ASVAB score. So they said, well, you can do anything. What about avionics? I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I had no idea what it was.
Right.
Went to school for that. Enlisted. Went through boot camp. Loved every second of it.
Avionics to me doesn't that sound like planes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the electronics on the planes.
Oh, okay.
So like you work on like the radar jammers and like the missile guidance systems and all that kind of stuff.
So you were part of the Navy then obviously.
Well, the Marines is technically part of the Navy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it was for.
But did you do a deployment at all?
Yeah,
like on a ship or a carrier or anything?
Well, I did do a deployment, but not as an avionics technician.
Oh, okay.
So I went in for avionics. I did the schooling. I hated every second of it. I didn't know anything about it.
Got it.
I got in the fleet and they said, hey, the people in charge of my shop were like, hey, we're back up. They made me think I was going to be flying, unmanned aircraft, like having a great time, right?
Those liars.
No, I was in a box with no windows, working with a multimeter, trying to fix stuff, like 8 hours a day.
Oh my God!
And it was not exactly what I thought I signed up for.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I still didn't know what I was doing, what I was talking about. I had no idea. I had no kind of background in that.
Well, you're very
I wasn't.
young.
Yeah, I wasn't mechanical at the time. I am now, thankfully, but not back then. So they said, hey, we've got this other shop. They don't actually have an MOS designator. So we have to send a certain number of people there. Who wants to go? I'm like, what do they work on? And they said air conditioners.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to make this a career.
Sure. Not sitting in the box with a meter.
Yeah, so when I get out of the military and I'm in the civilian world, am I going to work on radar jammers that don't exist in the civilian world?
Right.
Or air conditioners?
Okay.
I'll go.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be for 6 months, and I stayed for the rest of my term.
And how long did you serve?
3.5 years. 5 years total.
Okay,
3.5 years working on the air conditioner.
Well, I mean, from one vet to another.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank
obviously.
you for your service.
Yeah, I've had quite a few vets on. I mean, it's weird. It's not even like that's not like a planned thing. I mean, the only one truly planned was my veteran buddies that I did.
Which was hilarious, by the way.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good. If you haven't looked at that one, go back and check it out.
And then Ray Stryler, the Army Green Beret, and all that stuff. Well, that being said, the timer went off, so it's time to do shot 2 before we get to the next round. Tonight, you guys have seen Michter's on the show before, but this is Michter's Straight Rye, and I've not had that. Well, I've had it, obviously, but I didn't have it on the show. So, and Seth said he's not had any of these, so he's probably super excited about these because
I'm very excited.
No offense to Seth's selection. I mean, it's whatever he does. But when you come up with 6, 7, 8 bottles of whiskeys that no one's had before, it's good to know. That you've got. Believe me, I do. I spend way too much on whiskey. Thank God I have a decent job and make a good living.
I'm just glad you're spending it so I can drink along.
Exactly. Here we go. Let's taste this one. You'll like this one.
Oh, okay.
Does it come up your nostrils a little like mine does?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, not in a bad way. I'm just
not a
saying
burn. It's very aromatic.
Yeah, heat. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. That's good aftertaste too. Yeah.
This is one of my favorites. No offense, Michter's Rye, but the original Michter's, the one the standard bourbon, literally will not be on my shelf. I usually would have that with an ice cube.
Where's it from?
I have no idea. It says Kentucky, so I'm assuming all the bourbons in the world except this next one's gonna be American. So we'll see. But aged in Kentucky.
Since Kentucky.
They're all just that's a big area. I mean, hey, they know how to drink out there in the old East Coast.
It's true.
Yeah, South. So that being said, I think you had mentioned after you got out of the military, like how did you end up, where you're at now, and obviously being an associate of mine for all these years. What led you to work at the company we work at?
So I got married in the military.
Okay.
To my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
That did not work out. That was my first marriage.
Okay. Did you have a child?
We did, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And that was the thing. Right as I was getting out of the military, I got told that I was going to be a dad.
Oh, wow.
And my first thought was, great, I'm going to be in the military for the rest of my life, because that's what everybody who's getting out of the military.
Exactly. It's so
right?
funny, yeah.
Terrifying.
Yep.
And I didn't want to be there anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I started looking around for jobs related to what I had been doing so far. Figured, okay, well, I know air conditioning really well.
Right.
I didn't know where air
No,
conditioning
but you
really
had, what, 2 years in it maybe?
I had, 3.5.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what timeline you started there. Okay, so
But
3.5 years.
As Uncle Sam's employee, you're changing parts all day. You're
Right.
not troubleshooting.
Right.
You're not actually figuring things out. So
Right.
I had a lot to learn. But as I started interviewing at a couple of different places, looked at a couple of different companies. Excuse me. And wow, how much is in there? And a friend of mine said, "Hey, he owned a company."
Oh, okay.
And he said, "These are the guys that do the air conditioning for my company." And it happened to be the company that we now work at.
Oh, okay.
And he said, "Why don't you go interview with them?" So I called, and the interview went super well. Got a good score on the test. They hired me
right.
immediately, and I very quickly found out how much I didn't know.
What's funny is he talks about this test, and I only joke because it's like it's not the typical test. And I've seen some people. You're like, thank God you made pass that test, because it feels like some people are like, what is this? This is the hardest test in the world. So then from there, obviously you mentioned the first marriage didn't work out.
Right.
But you did have your first child.
Yeah, my
with
daughter.
While you were working with the company that ended up doing good, your insurance, right? That's amen to insurance.
Love
right?
insurance, yeah.
Because if you get out of the military, they're not covering you unless you're
scary.
active duty, right?
And that's the scary part, right? Oh, I'm here for life now.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. Believe
No,
me,
yeah. Daughter, she's 14 now. And
oh my God, I didn't even know that. Oh, I thought you shut that off.
I really should. You can feel free to pause it if you want, and I'll shut it off. It's up to you. But
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and pause it real quick. I mean, it's going to be loud, so.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't pause it. I'm just saying I'll entertain the crowd. Not with my juggling skills or whatever. So anyway, while he's shutting his air conditioning off, we're in the back of his yard, and I like doing these remote locations, just because it gives people kind of a sense of their own comfort. And just so you guys know, I've never driven home after an episode. Obviously, some have been at my house, but all the ones that are remote, I've never driven home. My wife has always picked me up, which has been a blessing. I'm about an hour away from my house, so the fact that my wife dropped me off and she's willing to go and run a couple errands up into town she's not even from is kind of cool. So I was just letting them know I never drive home from these things. I'm either at home or everywhere I go, I've always had my wife pick me up. Yeah. I don't want anyone to ever think I'm drinking all these shots, and some of them I'm like, at the end, I'm like, oh, I can't.
Some of the stuff is pretty strong.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. Yeah, some of the stuff is in the 90 to 110 proof, depending on what you're drinking. So anyway, you were talking about that, and the child, 14 years old.
Yeah, she's 14
and I was like,
now.
whoa, I didn't that's how long we've been together, at the company and stuff. That's crazy.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, been working there 15 years, and she's 14 now.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the next step then, because obviously, if your first wife doesn't work out, then you've got a daughter. So where did that happen? Like, kind of, where did you go from there?
I think one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn how to do, way harder than learning air conditioning, was learning how to be a single dad.
Yeah.
That was, honestly, I don't think I've ever done anything hard. It was harder than boot camp. It was harder than anything. Just going from, being a team, even if the team isn't working well.
Right.
Being a team to now you own everything.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you own all the responsibility. Dinner's got to be made by you.
Right.
Clothes got to be cleaned by you.
Right.
But
School,
somebody's still
pick
got to
up,
go to work.
drop off,
School.
all that.
Yeah, sports. If you're doing sports, thankfully she was young enough. There was no sports or anything, but super difficult. And my now wife, because I got married again, and for the last time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one's gonna stick. She's amazing. She's incredible. And she
what's interesting, I don't mean to cut him off because you're going to finish, but I really didn't even realize we were going there. Like, I forgot because I've not had to have that.
Right.
Being a single father. I mean, we've talked about single moms. My mom and other, people we've had on have talked about their struggles, with their parents and being single, kids or single parents. But for you, I didn't realize that. Like, you had to do that for a while. Like.
Yeah. Thankfully, like I said, I grew up close to where my parents lived. They don't live there anymore, but they did at the time.
Right.
So my daily routine was get up super early, sometimes getting woken up by my parents because they got here before I'm so tired, you know.
Yeah.
And
We're at a motorcycle raceway in the background.
Yeah,
You're
nice little ambient joy is going on.
It's all good though.
Yeah, get up in the morning. Parents come over, watch my daughter while I went to work. Go to work, come home. I was in the sales position by that point, so it was a little more flexible. But
and also a DJ, obviously, just pulled up too.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that we have good music. So yeah, get up, go to work, come home.
Yeah, I forgot. And then like you at the time, like you said, you were a different position than you are now at the company. You were 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because you got to go down there. You're up in here. You're an hour away from work.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's a different life. You know, he's now in sales. Not that I'm ruining anything. That's not a surprise.
Yeah.
But no offense. Hope any of my technicians are sales. You just get a little more freedom.
You have more flexibility, and you can do things like work at night.
Right.
Instead of working late in the afternoon or late in the evening. You can actually once the kids go to bed. But at the time,
the struggle was not that. Is all I'm saying. Like you were doing the.
Well, it was kind of like right in the transition.
Oh, was it really?
Point. Yeah. So.
God, you've been doing that long?
Yeah. So when I interviewed for this position, one of the questions that I asked was, "Is this going to afford me more time with my daughter?"
Yeah.
And the answer was, "You're going to get more quality time."
Yes.
You may not sleep.
Right.
Which I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I actually don't. I mean, I'm not the over obsessive email checker.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not going to not check my email on a Saturday or Sunday. So I'm available anytime.
Yeah,
and I think that helps though, is what I'm saying. Like if I can answer an email at 9 at night when I'm just chilling doing nothing, then that saves me something I could do during the regular hours.
Totally.
Because then I can go and do something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So before we get to the next part of the story, which is actually the two best parts of the meat and potatoes of Seth's story, is we're going to do a new one that I have not opened. It's called Boondocks, and you know how appropriate, Ken Boone, right?
And you're out in the boondocks here.
Yeah, we are. Well, yeah, we are a little farther.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I had to stop working and start working out or something again. Boondocks is one that I've not had, so we are going to be surprised. Like I said, I was able to prep mixers for him and tell him how good it was. Where's the line? Are we there?
Close enough.
Okay. But this one I haven't even opened. It's 95 proof.
Oh my gosh, that's sweet.
Good luck. Oh, is it?
Oh.
Oh.
Smell that, man.
Oh, that's going to be smooth. Yeah, Boondocks is American whiskey aged in Kentucky, 95 proof, 11 years.
11 years.
Wow, well, cheers. Here we go, brother. Let's see.
It's got to open up a little bit, but you can taste the sweetness. Yeah, right?
No, but you're right. Like, it needed to breathe a little.
You throw a couple drops of water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one definitely, but the flavor was super good. It just hit me right here.
Yeah, it's like when the first crack of wine.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to let it breathe. Yeah. We don't go by the rules on this show, I guess, because I didn't have time to really drop, a couple flicks of water. However, overall, pretty good.
Not bad.
I would rate it.
It's gonna get better through the day.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Through the day.
I would buy more.
He's like, don't mind hanging out. We're gonna finish this bottle tonight. Through the day.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that was a little exaggeration through the day. But no, let me get that next one here. And we do them every 5 to 7 minutes. I mean, that's a pretty banging.
It's pretty fast.
Rapid thing. Yeah. So in about an hour, you're gonna be talking sideways to your wife, and you're fine for now, is what I'm saying. But then, like an hour later, it hits you, and you're like, honey.
I know, I'm talking a big game now. Like, it's only 6. It's not that much, dude.
Yeah, I mean, who does?
Except it's 6 different ones.
Now, I as some of you know, and I've done 2.5 ounce shots accidentally. Like, it's a shot, and I forget that, and then I've measured them, and I'm like, dude, I did 6 of those in an hour. So that's basically 14 ounces of whiskey in an hour. That's I don't have hangovers though. That's what the blessing is. I just have hang nights. Like, I'm pretty bad before I go to bed. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So nonetheless, let's go to your next part of your story, which after, we've been through the single father thing, then you kind of had like a moment, right? Like you kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, so my dad approached me one day and admittedly, like, I'm an open book on this stuff, so
of course,
not saying anything anybody that knows me doesn't already know, but
it's your story though.
During that time, there was a lot of time where I was self-medicating. I was finding myself in the bottom of a vodka bottle most nights.
Okay.
Right, and not responsible.
Yeah, not like just having an occasional whiskey. You're talking deep.
I was medicated.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was in pain and I needed
you know,
emotional pain, and it was irresponsible, and there's no excuse for it. But that's where I was.
Of course.
And my dad approached me.
It's your story though. It's important.
Yeah. It's part of who I am.
Yeah.
And my dad approached me one day and he said, you know what? You and your brother and your sister all grew up going to church. My mom took us to church every Sunday.
Right.
And he said, you may not agree with what you learned there. You may not agree with that religion, but the fact is, you learn morals.
Yeah.
And
what's right and wrong.
Yeah. And if you want your daughter to grow up with the same kind of morals that you grew up with, you need to start getting your butt to church. And this is a man he's Christian.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been to church in like 50 years, right?
Good point though, by the way, because I mean we've raised our daughter.
Mm-hmm.
We have always been believers and stuff, but my whole thing was, you want the kids to have that. So go ahead. I mean, that's important that he said that, because you're like, okay, I'm not into it necessarily, but I've got to get my daughter. Yeah.
My dad's one of those guys that you know, some people's dads are like that. They talk once in a while, and when they do, it's like, you better be writing this down. Kind of stuff. You know,
like, oh, Dad, you're speaking. Yeah, that's not normal. Like to that level. Yeah.
So he took my focus off of myself.
Correct.
And put it onto my daughter where it needed to be at that point in my life.
He knew you would listen. And
I listened. Yeah. And I went church hunting, and ended up going to church one day. My sister was going to this one church. She was in town visiting. She moved out of state, but she was in town visiting. And she said, hey, I'm going to go to our friend's church. Do you want to go along with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm church hunting. I don't have one yet.
Yeah. And so I took my daughter was, I think she was 4 at that time.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Perfect. You know, Sunday Bible study though. Yeah. Like, for the kids, I'm saying, like, that's like 4 years old, they're like a sponge at that.
That's when it's fun, too.
Yeah, that's when they're like,
you're coloring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Making like popsicle crosses.
Making halos.
Yeah, totally. That's
totally
great.
fun.
Yeah, 4 to like 8 is the best preschool time. Yeah,
exactly. So, so we went to the service. I had my daughter. I didn't check her into Sunday school or anything, because if you go to a church the first time, you're like, I don't know. You know, I don't know these people.
And your daughter's probably not excited about it.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to leave my dad. I don't know any of these kids or anything. So I just had her. I had her sitting on my lap. I remember she had a pink hoodie on.
Okay.
And
good memory.
Well, it plays into it. So I'm sitting there, and to back up a little bit, 2 of my friends from the military had died in motorcycle accidents like that year. My wife told me she wanted a divorce, so I was going through that.
This year right here?
This is all in the same year.
Oh, jeez.
My country song. My truck got stolen.
Right.
A friend from my mom's church that I grew up in, he was older, but he had passed on. It was like all of this stuff hit at the same time, and I was,
tough.
you know, you talk about, you hear
and
people
you were
talk
young
about.
Too, right?
I was 20. Oh, geez, how was it? She was 4, so I was probably 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there. Yeah.
That's still young to handle all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said something about talk about what?
Well, you hear people talk about like, oh, you know, I hit rock bottom and then I found Jesus, and like that's a lot of times the response to that is, well, it's just a crutch. Well, I didn't need a crutch; I needed a stretcher.
Right.
Like, it's bad, right? So, so I'm sitting there with all of this weight on me, and the guy preaching, who actually wasn't the standard pastor who usually preaches,
like a guest pastor.
He was a guest pastor.
Yeah, those are trips sometimes.
The sermon, I'll never forget, was when the only way out is through.
Right.
And I realize I'm sitting there, I'm just like sobbing into my daughter's hoodie. Like she's hugging onto me, and she doesn't know I'm crying, but I'm just like filling this hoodie with tears the whole time.
Unreal.
And it made me realize, like, I can't do this. I can't do this on my own.
On my own, yeah.
Yeah, and there's no quit option.
Yeah.
So I need help. I need help bad.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely came to the Lord.
Yeah. And just happened. I mean, that's dude. I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, how much is our? I'm not trying to cut it. I just want
25.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. You're good. So ultimately, you have glasses. That's why you could see it. I just should have asked you to look at the camera and tell me without even.
It looks great. I look really good. You're okay.
Hey, I never get that. Usually, people say I look good.
No, you look better than I do.
I'm so sorry.
Clearly
I'm just
work
joking,
out.
by the way.
You work out. I just sit up straight.
But no, that's amazing. I mean, honestly, like, it's weird. I've only had 3 shots, and I'm emotional. But it's not because of the whiskey. It's because I know what he's talking about. Like, I've had that moment. You know, it's a different experience, and so we won't turn this show into that. But it's definitely a real thing. And so if you guys, you know, we definitely believe, and it's just a good thing to have, and especially since you said you were at that point, right? Like, it was either that or it was going to go downhill.
There was no more downhill to
yeah.
go.
You
like,
kept on that path, so
yeah.
you were fortunate enough to be like, boom, you know, I found it quick.
Yeah.
If you found the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. I don't even know you, but that was a good call because he's a good guy. And so anyway, the timer went off.
Excellent.
So as much, I'm usually good at transitions. I mean, every episode I've always got a good thing for a shot, but it's hard to transition the Lord into another shot. So I'm going to leave that one alone and just say we're going to go with an Irish whiskey that I haven't tried yet. It's called Teeling. So I'm big on the Irish. Actually, a buddy of mine, can you help me with that? I'm really struggling. Oh, there it is. Sorry, my bad. I thought it was a twist off like that, but it's actually a little more complicated. So a buddy of mine who's going to be on the show next week, Lord willing, our schedules work out. He is literally 100% Irish whiskey.
Wow.
Like that's all he does.
Oh.
He's not an Irish guy. He's 100% Irish whiskey. That's all he drinks. Like he's got red breast of every kind. He's got all the Irish whiskeys. So I'm excited because he said, "Don't even bring any. I'll support the show." So I was like, "That's nice." But I have had 5 or 6 Irish whiskeys now, and I seem to like them. There is a different. It's you know it's like double aged. I don't know if you know that, but. And they spell it. I think one of them spells it. Yeah, this one still spells it with EY. Here we go. Cheers. God, it's so different. Like, is that not super? Like, that's untouchable.
It's totally different taste. Yeah.
Like, I've had some Irish whiskey, some high stuff, when I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago, and that had less bite than this. I mean, had more bite than this.
Yeah, and that's fresh opened.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah,
and it's small
imagine
batch
how it's
too.
going to be with a little opening up.
I will say that normally when I do my
Delicious
evening tasting, I have a traditional clear cube that I have perfected, thank God. It's been a while. I've had people ask me for the link for the machine or the device that I use, and when I first got it, it's still not easy. Like, it took me at least 12 tries to get a perfectly clear, no fog, because there's a level to it.
Right.
But it does make a huge difference. It
Oh, yeah.
really, really does. So, anyway, I get what you're saying. Like, for this to be that good without any additional ice or water, super good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one. So
that's a keeper.
So now that you've kind of converted.
Yeah. Overtime.
Yeah. Oh no,
it was a
it's
slow.
not like you're like crying. I was like, yes, I got you. You know.
Yeah. Well, some people do, right?
No, I know.
Some people have that, like, oh, I'm never turning back kind of thing. And I was like, I hope this prayer took, because I'll try it again tomorrow.
Unreal.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about after that, though. So if you went into, we'll kind of fast forward from the, the transition and how long it took.
Yeah.
But obviously, you said you had a current wife, which I think you've been with for a while now.
Right.
And so tell us like how that all happened. Was it through church? Was it?
It was through church.
Oh, okay.
So I became band nerd.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I started working. I started volunteering on the worship team, kind of playing backup guitar and some other stuff like that, and whatever instrument they needed filled.
Right.
Because I'm like I said, music's my thing. So I love playing. I love learning new instruments and playing them also. So I had a few that I could draw from, and over time, this one day the worship leader came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'm going to leave. I want you to take over." And so I became the worship leader.
You mean like leave?
Like
done.
he was moving.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like I'm just leaving for the night. Take over for the night. He was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to another state.
Peace.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was moving. And
sorry,
skateboard.
I didn't know.
Or a horse.
I thought someone was coming into your house.
It's okay. We're on.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Well, that's another show, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, okay. So he took over, and how long ago was that? Because I know you've been doing worship leader for a while.
Oh my gosh, that was 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. So it's been 9-10 years.
So, funny story, and I hope no one hit the comment. My dude, you would always be printing out lyrics, bro. Like I'm like, what is like? I'm going to to get something.
Go
like,
to get something off the printer.
It's like lyrics. Now, granted, I mean, it might have been a whole one pack over the time you did it, but that was your beginning time. Like that was before. Like you could tell, like you were new and you were doing the lyrics and stuff. Yeah, totally funny. I'm like, oh. Yeah. He's definitely in the worship situation. I know you were the leader at the time, but that's pretty cool. So anyway, go ahead. How did you meet your?
So as the leader, you're constantly like it's the leader of the entire ministry, not just the one who's singing, right?
Of course.
So you're constantly like what do you call it, auditioning people
yes.
for.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, my church, it's like you're like, who's this person?
Oh
But they have to audition people.
And it's so sad when you have to turn people down. But man,
you're like the American Idol,
right?
like Simon Cowell and stuff, and you're like, sorry, you're not going to work out.
People, I love you, but just because you go to church doesn't mean you can sing.
Yeah, believe me, don't. I mean, I've tried to get my wife up there, and she's like, absolutely not. Don't even try it. And I'm like, well, I think you have a great voice, you know, but I am terrible. Like, if I sung, ever, you've seen my mom. If you haven't,
you sing like your mom?
No, I'm better than that.
Let me hear you. God Bless America.
No. I'm more like, God bless. I mean, I am terrible, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm monotone. I have no idea how to sing, which is weird, because in high school, I was in choir for 2 years.
Really?
That's before my voice went to manly voice.
Ah.
So I had the high pitch. What is that called?
Falsetto.
I thought it was soprano. No, the one that's low. Is it falsetto?
Well, low is not falsetto.
No, not
falsetto
low.
is like
The other one, the high. So that's falsetto?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, I'm only bringing it up because I literally don't ever get me to sing. And you have a good voice, obviously. You're
Thank
the
you.
lead singer, correct?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So, whatever. Lead singer. don't brag or anything. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. You're so
Straight
good
up
at it.
question.
I'm joking. Yes, I wish I could sing like him. Anyway, and you can check his stuff out on your own YouTube channel, right? You've got like
the church has one.
Oh, okay.
The Springs Community Church. Just look at the Springs.
It's always good to put it out there
Yeah.
because I mean the guy can sing and his wife can obviously sing.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I think she's actually better than
She
you.
is way better than. She's better than me at everything. Yeah.
Well, at least you admitted it, and she's watching it back. Good plug for her.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead. Yeah, you met her. How'd you meet her?
Her dad actually convinced her that she should go audition for we call them BGVs, background vocalists.
Oh, okay.
Right, the people that sing harmony.
Yes.
So she came to the stage and she's like, this is her side of the story is she came to the stage and she goes, well, I'm not going to fall in love with this guy because he's a musician. And she was like, no musician, no smoking, and I smoke cigars. And she's like, no musician, no smoking. The guy's probably married because I had a purity ring on.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I was a single dad, but I had a purity ring. So
right.
she's like, the guy's married anyway. And then she came up, she shook my hand, she's like, hi. And then she said internally, she was like, crap.
Oh, dude.
And that was it.
With that being said, there's one step that we've got left. You have the good glasses. 35?
35.
Oh, this is perfect. This is going so good. Because the next part of this guy's story is the adoption, which we talked about. And I want to know more about that. So next we're going to go with Jim Beam, which I know is
Good
a
old
traditional.
Jim Beam.
Yes, but this is the black extra aged bourbon.
I love it. I drink Jim Beam every night.
No, but I mean, this is a good one, yeah. And honestly, have you had this one, though? The black barrel
I have
aged?
not had the black.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm really excited about this.
It's actually really good. I mean, it's for your...
Oh, yeah, you can smell its richer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Dude, that is unreal. Does that not taste, that doesn't taste like normal Jim Beam, does it?
No.
That's
no,
unfair
that's got
almost.
some caramely to it.
Yeah, it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
Like that, if someone was like, I don't want to drink this.
Is that much more than regular Jim Beam?
Like maybe $15 more for that size.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No.
I would buy that for the quality.
He's like, all right, I gotta go with that.
Yeah, that's good quality.
Mm. Well, that's why I have it. I would only use Jim Beam for like mixing with Coke.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No offense to Jim Beam, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna. If it was regular, I wouldn't drink it on the rocks. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
This, so good, just over ice.
Mhm.
So good.
Yeah, good flavor.
I don't mix a lot of my whiskeys anyway. I mean, unless you're gonna have like a. For me, I'm a Diet Coke guy only because I work out. That's just my preference.
Not me.
He did at one time.
At one time.
Yeah. All right. So for the big, hold on, we're gonna start that for the finale. I mean, it's not like 5 minutes long. So a few years ago,
Yeah.
he comes to my office and all right, let's bring it real quick. You met, you married, and you have a child, right? Correct?
We do have a child. Yeah, we have
Together.
a 5-year-old son.
Okay,
right
perfect.
now. Yeah.
5-year-old son. So about 3 years ago, he shows up and we're talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this," and I'm like, "Why? Like, you already have kids. Like, what's the, what's the? But not because you don't want more, but why are you choosing that route when you have 2 natural kids? So go ahead."
Yeah. So when we had my son, my wife, he was premature, She went preeclamptic. I won't get into what that means, but it was a
I
condition.
had 2 preemie twins.
Okay,
so
so it was necessary that he needed to be emergency C-section. We saw that we're not getting any younger, right? We're both in our 30s.
Okay.
She's actually a year older and better looking than I am.
Okay.
And we figured, you know what? We want to have more kids, but do we want to go through this again?
Got it.
It was really hard, and at the same time, when we first started kind of talking about becoming serious,
okay,
we submitted a list of questions to each other just to get to know each other.
Oh.
Like, we're old enough now, we both know what we want.
Right, it's not like you're 21, 22.
So that you
came to
how are your finances?
Got
like,
it.
That kind of
That's a cool idea. That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, so we swapped questions, answered them, and then swapped them back, and then answered our own.
Right.
And that got us like a good start, and I recommend that for anybody.
I was going to say, that sounds badass, dude.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I married my best friend. I was best friends with her before we got married.
Right, of course.
Right, so one of those questions was, how do you feel about children? How do you feel about adoption? And both of us were open to it, but we wouldn't have any kind of conviction or anything like that.
Yeah, you were just like,
we just figured,
I'm not against it.
Yeah, I'm open to that. I'm open to anything.
Especially
I love
when
kids.
you're meeting, right? Yeah.
Right, excuse me.
You don't want to put on the form, absolutely not.
That might have been a deal breaker.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, and neither of us felt that way. So, so fast forward to now we're married.
Right.
Right. We've got our boy. It was a scary time having the boy.
Right.
But
because of the struggles.
Right. But we got through it, and then we figured, you know what? Let's make this our last natural kid, and then if we feel like, so I got fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so there's no turning back now.
Yeah. Amen to that, brother.
No.
I was fixed 6 months after my preemie twins
there's no
were
turning.
healthy.
Yeah.
I said, okay, they made it 6 months. They're up to like 5 pounds. I'm getting these things. Yeah. It's not enjoyable, guys. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and be like, it's the best thing ever. But
no, it hurt bad.
It's way better than the women.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I all you knew back in the day was
risk with that.
The women getting their tubes tied or whatever, and like now, like the dude, it's so much easier.
It's outpatient.
Yeah, and it's like 2 days, you're done. You know. Yeah. So nut up. Oh, didn't mean to say that. I meant to say like just do it. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then go ahead.
So we go to church one day. There's a guest who's speaking. Really great guy. Look him up if you want. His name's John Bentley. He's a great guy. Good friend of ours. He became a good friend of ours. But at the time, he has a bunch of orphanages in Asia, and he came to do kind of a presentation about that one Sunday. It was like a guest speaker kind of thing.
Okay.
So he's showing these pictures, right? We've got like the big screens, and we're looking at these pictures, and we're watching these pictures of these kids that all of them have been like abandoned or forsaken, or they're considered not worth it. Right? And these kids are stinking adorable. And by the end of it, my wife and I are just both like soaked in tears. And I have to go lead worship.
Yeah. Oh, after. Yeah, because you're like the closing, like. Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I said, "We have something to talk about when we get home, don't we?"
Right.
And she said, "Yeah, we do."
You guys are awesome.
And so we were on the same page immediately, and we prayed about it, and both of us felt like the country that we chose, and I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to disclose, so I'm just going to be careful with it. But the country that we chose was the country that both of us felt led to.
Right.
So we started that process.
Right. So nonetheless, it wasn't the U.S.
It was not the U.S. No,
Correct.
it is
international.
international.
International adoption.
Yeah.
And what's funny is we had World Vision, which is a huge organization, and we adopted someone financially, but one girl for about 8 years.
Yeah.
When she was like 6, and then she ended up growing up and becoming, but we stopped after she sent letters and stuff. But I'm saying, like, you were the same way, except you were like looking, like you saw the opportunity to adopt a child.
Yeah.
Like bring it into the home. Okay.
Yeah.
So the last part of this video, after our last shot, because our timer went off, will be the meat and potatoes of the adoption process. Okay. So here we go. So we're gonna do Old Forester, which I haven't had on the show.
Excellent.
But obviously, again, I've had it. I'm
pretty
pretty bad about that. I seem to drink my pre-show stuff, but it is very good. Actually, I'm a big fan of Old Forester now. It was just one that I wanted to try. I mean, I'm a whiskey subscriber to multiple different outlets, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, and certain people post certain things, and then I go and try them. Some I'm like, I will never get that again, and I won't bring those up. But this one's super good. Again, like you're learning a lot tonight because he likes whiskey. For gosh, I like that. For gosh, that's the greatest thing ever. Oh, for gosh. But that, no, seriously, like, that's a great phrase. I'm going to coin that, man. That's
I don't know
amazing.
if that's actually what I said, but it's good. You should.
It
coin
sounded like for gosh to me, but all I know is that was very good. You like that, huh?
Oh, for gosh.
Isn't that smooth though? Like that's really tender. Like on the everything. There's nothing going on bad.
No, it's
so
super good. It's got some dark to it. It's got some light oak to it. It's good. That's good.
What's that? Oh, it looked like it was done though, right? Anyway. All right, so now we're going to get into, we know the reason why.
Yeah.
What's the process like? Why is it taking 3 years without getting into too much detail?
Yeah, so ours went a little bit backwards from your typical, like you said, your normal adoption, right? Normally you would go through the process, the extraordinary process of paperwork first.
I couldn't imagine.
And it's like getting pre-approved for a loan, kind of.
Right, yeah.
And then you go and you actually seek the loan. So you would go through the paperwork process first, and then you would get matched with a kid. Well, there were some things changing in this country that we were adopting from politically, and they were trying to match as many of these kids as they could in order to solidify an adoption of these kids and try to get them a good home.
Right.
So we actually got matched first, and then had to do the paperwork afterwards.
That's weird. But hey, whatever.
It's very strange.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. We'll find out. It's only been 3 years now.
Well, if it's a bad thing, if it normally takes a year.
They say anywhere between 2 and 4.
But there was a pandemic going on.
Yeah, I guess technically we're on. Yeah, right now.
Let's skip the last 6 months and just take that away, because there's no way they're going to let you do anything.
Yeah, so it's only been 2.5 years. Like,
okay.
You know, just like a 9-month pregnancy. So.
So listen. I don't mean to cut him off, but the kid's gonna come at like 18 and be like, "Dad,
can I have the car?" Right?
You're like, I thought you were an infant. Now he's like,
we got to start over, and he was super young. I mean, he was like I think 6 months old when we first.
So now he's like 3.
Yeah.
If we're putting 2.5. Oh no, you said 2.5 because of the pandemic. So he's almost 3.5.
He's gonna be 3.
Oh God. Anyway, unreal.
No, he is 3.
That's what I mean.
He is 3 now. He's gonna be 4.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, unreal.
It's wild, yeah. So,
but have you spoken or seen live images?
We have gotten pictures. We have gotten videos. We have his health report for.
He's still your child, correct? But he's not legally you're not his parents yet. Correct?
We're legally not his parents. He's legally not an American citizen. But we are matched.
Correct. So he's in the system.
He's in the system, which is a good thing.
Your future.
No one else can come in and
son. Yeah.
You know, swoop in and take him or anything. He's our son, and we treat him like a.
I know.
I mean, my other son, Samuel. He every night he prays, please bring. I won't say his name, but please bring him home soon and safely.
Yeah.
Every night he prays that.
Wow.
And he considers him his brother. My daughter considers she has
Dude, stop, dude.
2 brothers.
I've only cried one other time on the show, and you're making me happen now. Especially when you're
best.
talking about like, your child.
Yeah.
Who's like praying for his kid or brother that he doesn't even know yet. I mean,
he's got bunk beds in his room already.
Oh,
like he's ready. God. He's ready. Like the room is decorated for both of them.
Unreal.
And he sees that as not just my room. This is me and my brother's room.
Yeah. He must be anxious. I mean, he's probably more excited, like as a child, because he's 5, right? You said.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, oh, I want my brother here.
It's interesting. He's actually taken it pretty well.
Oh, good.
But I think part of that is because
he's also got his sister.
He's got his sister who's here basically half the time, right? So she's here half the time with her mom half the time.
He's not always alone.
Yeah, so he's kind of used to this kind of come and go thing. Right. Sometimes he's an only child, sometimes he's not. Kind of.
He's probably like, after that time with my sister, it's like, I'm ready to be an only child. And he's like, I miss my. I mean, that's like the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when she comes back, she's like, oh my God.
So I guess ultimately to wrap up, I just want to know, like, what organizations, like, how do you get to that point? Like, how do you even go about adopting someone?
So you have choices.
Okay.
Right. It's just like any other kind of bit. It's like insurance or any other thing that you would have a choice between the different agencies.
Okay. There are different agencies.
Yeah. And you have a choice. And we actually just recently, I won't say the agency's names because I don't want to get anybody in trouble or promote anybody in that unnecessarily, but we
switched agencies.
We recently switched agencies, because the agency we were working with it wasn't working out. So, if you're thinking about adoption, do your research. look at. I mean, we thought we did, right? But you know, do your research and really look into like the reviews and talk to people who have adopted.
Yeah.
And, your best resource is somebody who has already adopted.
So let me ask you something real quick. When you say switch agencies, are you saying that the kid goes with those agencies, or they already also have availability to that child?
The agency is, I hope I don't say this wrong, my wife has done like 90% of the paperwork on this, but the agency is America side.
Okay.
And the agency can contact any
so
place that they want.
Yeah.
So it's just which route you take to get to. Yeah, and some are more expensive but worth it.
Yeah.
And some are less expensive, and maybe they're worth it, you know. But you have to do your research, and like I said, talk to someone who's already adopted. That's
or send a message secretly, like if you were really seriously considering it, hit a comment. I will forward it to him, and he can send it to you separately.
I would love to talk to anyone.
Yeah, don't. He would give it to you. It's just we don't want to do it out here. But if you do want to comment and you're very serious or considering or even have questions about it, hit the comment. And make sure, and I will forward it to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So where are we at right now? Let's wrap it up.
Well, right now
everything's
shut down.
Okay.
So we're in the process of doing our paperwork again. I think it's about the 5th time now.
Oh, you have to keep doing paperwork?
That was one of the reasons we switched.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing our paperwork again. We're wrapping it up. I think I've had my 5th physical now.
Okay. So what's the physical have to do with it?
Awesome. Oh, that's it.
Did you see that amazing sarcasm?
That is a really good point, actually. So anyone who's considering adoption, you should think about this. When you decide to have a kid, you simply have one.
Okay.
When you decide to adopt a kid, you open up your entire life to scrutiny.
Right. Yeah. It's just like politics, right? Like if you run for something, you need to know that you're going to get. Yeah.
We didn't get into this, but when I was in the military, I got arrested.
Okay.
Okay. I was stupid.
Yeah. No, you were young. Yeah.
I got arrested. I was 19 years old.
It was probably like nothing.
It was, basically. Yeah.
But they're going to find it.
Just a bad decision, right? 19 years old, I got arrested. I'm 38. What year is this? I'm 38 now.
Right. Almost 20 years later, basically.
I had to write a letter of apology for dishonoring my family.
Oh, my God.
Like, it's...
So it was in your file to show that,
Yeah, and get it notarized.
Unreal.
I mean,
so maybe if you're considering
it's insane.
It's probably a good thing, though. I mean, adoption's amazing. Like,
well, there's a reason that they take it so seriously because it's become, sad but true. It's become like a trafficking thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and
that makes total sense. Like people could do it.
Absolutely.
They should protect the kids so they don't go in and fall in the wrong hand. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're in the right family, and they have to do. And it does make sense. You're right. You are putting a 6-month at the original time to now a 3-year-old kid into the hands of someone, and they're like, we're not taking this lightly because someone could actually take that person and put them into the wrong system.
And people have.
That's what I mean. Obviously, if they're doing that, it's a real thing.
People make a.
I don't go to bed thinking about that. Is what I'm saying. Like you don't realize that that's a real thing, and that can actually be a struggle. And these kids, I mean, kids are what do they call them? They're just 100% innocent. Like they don't know anything about it. Yeah, they're 2, 3, 4. I mean, do you remember when you were 3? I don't.
No.
Let's be honest. I mean, they don't know anything. So
I have a hard time remembering when I was 37.
I don't even. I did have what did I have for breakfast yesterday. I'm 48. So anyway, do you have any closing thoughts? I want him to go ahead and read all your like who like Both Hands. Is that a real organization on your shirt?
Yeah. This is Both Hands is an organization that helps out with adoption processes. They do they help you do a fundraiser basically where you care for Both Hands is one for the widow, one for the orphan. It's a Christian thing.
Got it.
And they help you basically serve a widow in order to do a fundraiser for an orphan. So yeah, we got to like totally fix up this wonderful woman's house who turned out to be a super good friend.
Yeah.
And at the same time raise money for our son to come home.
Wow.
It's a great organization if you're looking at adoption. This is a really good way to go. It's a ton of work.
Okay.
Ton of work, but they help you walk through that.
I like how but he is preparing you. He's like, no, I mean, like some people don't care. They're
well,
like,
and that's
what I mean. Like that's the giving part of some people, and other people are like, and you're right. If those people are the people that don't want to do that, it's probably not. Like I'm just saying, you're like, hey, just do your thing. Yeah. Go some other route.
There's 100 different ways of fundraising, right? I mean, you could sell, caramel apple suckers or whatever you.
Oh, what is it? What's the donuts they sell in the corner?
The donuts.
Yeah, like for fundraising.
Oh yeah. The little
What's the donuts? The famous company. Help me out, man.
Krispy Kreme?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's a dozen ways to do
We
it.
just-
You're not going to raise a lot of money for that compared to that, right?
This video is not sponsored by Krispy Kreme.
Oh, God, no. As you can see, I don't support Krispy Kreme. I just like,
I might.
Without, guys, I'm out. Seth Herndon, are you done?
I think so.
Any closing words?
Yeah. Might as well, right? Good.
Yeah, no,
outgoing
this is
message.
perfect.
Get back up. That's it. Life's gonna knock you down.
Yeah.
You're gonna get knocked down over and over. If there's one thing watching your videos has actually shown me is I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
There are other people out there that have the same, similar struggles.
Yeah.
And they've gotten through it. My dad used to say, "Dad, wisdom again."
Yeah.
My dad used to say, "This too shall pass."
Yeah.
And I used to get so aggravated when he would say, I'd be
You're like, what
mad
do
as
you
a
mean
hornet.
by that? Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This
Yeah.
too shall pass. I'm trying to deal with such and such, right?
Right.
He meant it as a message of hope.
Of course.
Eventually, something changes and this goes away and you deal with it, and it's part of what makes you who you are.
When
keep
the door
getting back
closes, two more windows open.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep getting back up.
Yeah.
If you don't know the Lord, maybe get to know Him. And
that's a good thing too.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I'm glad you picked up, because Seth actually, like, all I did was talk to him at work one day about this video message, and to be honest, I feel like, I've told it in the messages before, but you're right. This is about people's story.
Yeah.
And it's just another outlet. Like, I get it, we're having fun having whiskey, but people have whiskey shows. Like, they're tasting whiskey. It's fun. It's fine. It's all light. But my thing is about people's messages.
It's more about this. Yeah.
It's about, like, understanding that people go through stuff.
Yeah.
And what he saw, like, when your father came to you, not everyone has that father.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that sister, that brother, that wife, that spouse to say, well, what if they're all just on YouTube one day?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're just like, they're like, Seth Herndon adoption, whatever, dude. And then he's like, no, I'm just saying, like, I don't know Seth, I don't know what about adoption, but they just like, let's check it out. And all of a sudden you're talking about, like, get up. I was at the bottom, I was at the barrel, I was at this, I was at that. I feel like that's the message